The Journey, written by Heath Williams, read by Paul Landigan. Chapter 1. The Edge. The sun hovered above the mountains and the lake was peacefully still. The few stratus clouds that lingered provided a canvas for the colours painted by the early autumn sunset. The Appalachian Mountains seemed more vibrant and beautiful than ever as the sun began to slip behind them. The purple and orange skies slowly began to fade away as the day turned to dusk. The peacefulness of the lake added to the surrealness of the evening. It was the perfect ending to a perfect afternoon. The stretch of lakefront belonged solely to Mother Nature and was void of any signs of alteration. An empty hillside was landlocked by thick forests that seemed to guard the grassy descent that led to the lake shore where Joe was standing. The water sat motionless and appeared as glass as Joe gazed across it towards the face of the mountains. Joe tried to bask in the beauty of autumn's hues. Dogwoods offered their burgundy leaves while maples, sweet gums and hickory trees added their splendour. Green chlorophyll had released its grasp on seemingly every leaf, allowing carotenoid compounds to splash the landscape with an array of orange and yellow. Today had seemed to be what he needed, some time to relax. He was able to only steal a few hours from his busy schedule, and he tried to make the most of his escape. The morning had been consumed with a few hours of work, and then a rush to his youngest one's ball game to watch her cheer. Except for the urging of his wife, he may had stayed home with the excuse of being too tired. She thought the time alone may be good for him, and her too. They both knew that he desperately needed a break, but Joe needed it a lot more than she could even imagine. The hours had passed all too quickly, and soon it was time to leave. Even before he had finished packing up his tackle box, it started coming back. That awful, terrible problem he faced, the one that consumed him. The one that took the place of contentment, satisfaction and happiness. The problem that overshadowed a peaceful afternoon and robbed him of any joy that may have resulted from his fall furlough. Joe stood perfectly still with tackle and rod in hand and gazed across the lake in the direction of the picturesque sunset, yet he was unable to absorb its beauty. The mountains seemed to draw him in closer as they beckoned to him. It had been several years since he had visited this special place that owned so much of his childhood. He thought about the seemingly endless days he spent playing in the nearby woods and all the hours fishing at practically the same spot that he was standing now. Scenes of his childhood flashed in his mind. Memories of being here as a kid propelled him to a better place. A place where things were simpler and happiness was plentiful. A point in time that he found himself longing for. A time long before his problem. He looked back at the field behind him, and without effort he could see kids playing. He saw everyone just as they were so many years before. He heard their laughter and their yells of excitement as they played. He saw them hiding in the tall weeds or sneaking from the edge of the woods to overtake their opponent. "Tag! Got you! You're it!" they yelled. The innocence of it all allowed Joe to temporarily escape his returning problem. Maybe it was the unquenchable thirst for it all to be real, or perhaps the shiver from a cool autumn breeze that caused Joe to return to the present. Regardless, he was back. The sounds of crickets chirping and bullfrogs croaking reminded Joe that daylight was fading and he needed to get going. He tried to maintain some of the solitude he had experienced just minutes before that now suddenly seemed so distant.